Welcome to How to Give an MBA Caliber Zoom Presentation. This presentation is geared towards business students and anyone else who would like to improve their online meeting presence. So first we're going to go through a best and worst, and then we're going to spend the rest of the video explaining why. Worst. Okay, so besides the fact that this guy is violating about 14 rules of fashion, he's also doing a number of things wrong for his video meetings. Number one, he is slouching. Number two, his camera is on his lap, which means that he's going to be looking down at the rest of the meeting, which is probably his modus operandi. Number three, he's in front of a window. See that window behind him? Well, that window is going to make him horribly backlit. You'd be lucky to see his face, and around him would be a bright halo of outside. All right, this guy, what's bad about this guy? Probably very little. He's actually doing a lot right. He's got good lighting. He's appropriately positioned relative to his windows, that is to the side or in the front. He's smiling. You can see that his overall lighting is good. And very importantly, his eyes are at the same level as the camera. So he's looking at you. And most likely he's actually talking to his audience. So where can this video help? It can help for a number of things, in general for Zoom meetings, but also for online job interviews, online sales presentations, online client presentations, leading webinars, and business school presentations in general. The limits of this video is really focused primarily on technical and aesthetic parts of an online presentation. So in this video, we're not going to go over slide craft, storyboarding, how to use Zoom, the bells and whistles for interactivity or those other wow factors. If there's any interest, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll consider these types of things for future videos. And I will give a couple of links on how-tos that'll go into this information in more detail, again, in the comments section. Presentation best practices. These are things I'm not going to get into too deeply, but they are things you always need to be considering when doing an online presentation. First, and most importantly, tell a story. Your presentation should begin with something that catches the audience's attention and build throughout the length of the presentation to reach a logical conclusion. This should appear in sum, and when seen from above, this should appear as a holistic story to the audience. Number two, always be closing. So every online presentation is actually a sales presentation of some sort. Every presentation in general is a sales presentation. You're selling an idea. You're selling a product. You're selling your capabilities if you're going in for a job interview. You're selling anything and everything, but make sure that you're selling something. Otherwise, you shouldn't be giving an online presentation. As Alec Baldwin's character from Glengarry, Glenn Ross, said, go out there and win that Cadillac Eldorado, because second place gets a set of steak knives. Technical recommendations. This one's interesting, and I see a lot of people violating this. Most people online have their heads right down at the bottom of the screen, and if you watch professionally produced TV, that's not the way things work. So what you want to do is have your eyes between the 1/2 and 2/3 mark of the screen. So here we go. All right, so this guy's eyes are between, let's pull up my cursor. There we go. This is the halfway line. This is the 2/3 line. And this is the 1/3 line. Far too many people have their eyes down here. So this guy's well positioned to be able to see his eyes, face, torso, etc. However, this is not a great overall framing because he is he's too far back. So let's see something else. All right, let's look at her. Her eyes, right place for a video. She's probably a little close. So see how we're just getting a little bit of the shoulders. So let's check out this guy. So this is almost perfect. So see how his eyes are at the 2/3 mark. So that's the top line right here. His head is framed extremely well. You can see his shoulders, and this will give you the framing that can allow you to express yourself using your hands if necessary, but don't do what I do often in class, which is to wave your hands frequently. So hand gestures should be impactful and meaningful, but they should not be overused. This framing will allow you to use your hands and give the best overall impact. Technical recommendations. Camera should be at eye level. Notice that I mentioned the second picture at the beginning. That guy was looking right at the top of his iMac, and that's where in an iMac the camera is. So I've got my camera exactly at eye level, so this is a best practice. But most people, I find, especially if they're sitting on their laptops or just being way too informal about a formal presentation, have their cameras down here. All right, so that allows me to look down upon you, and that's not optimal. So not to mention you get a not great view of my chin. If you're going for the best impact, make sure that that camera is at eye level. Lighting. So lighting is tricky, but everybody should pay attention at least to avoid the negatives. So number one, don't have backlighting. So this guy is backlit, and this is how you look. If you've got a window behind you, this is how you look on screen. So always double check your screen. If your face is dark, that means that you've got too much light behind you and not enough light in front of you. So I've got lighting because this is what I do for a living. So let's say this should be okay lighting, but let's actually make this poor lighting. Okay? So this is far too dark. I'm just getting the glow of the screen. And if I turn on my overhead light, then I'm just getting probably something of a backlit, side lit look that is not optimal. So I've actually set this up to have lights in front of me in my little makeshift office here. There we go. Let's turn those on. There we go. And here. Cool. That should be much better. So that's kind of a basics for lighting. Put a lamp in front of you. And, if you have one of these, I've got a swing arm light. If you have one of those, put that in front of you. You don't have to blare it right in your face. You can shine it at the wall, and that'll give you a more diffuse lighting. So these are all television production hints, but they don't have to be done at a television production level. They can be done at a Zoom amateur level with, $10 pieces of equipment lying around. Next technical recommendation, use headphones and a microphone. Okay, so the easiest way is to take your AirPods. If you're an Apple person, those work great. Actually, the quality is quite high. To use a standard old school set of headphones with the microphone right here, those work great for quality. I use, you can use in Bluetooth, especially for Zoom, it works great. So I'm using a professional mic to record this video, but normally in class I actually use a lavalier clip-on mic because I can get away with that because I talk too much in class. But that clips here, that gives good voice quality, the best possible voice quality. So this will reduce echo. In fact, it will eliminate echo. If you're on a call and there's echo, that's because someone is not using headphones. All right, simple as that. It's the sound feeding itself back from the computer back into the microphone. That's what echo is. It'll also reduce hiss, clarify your volume if you're trying to sell something, which you are because you're giving a presentation. So you need to allow yourself to have the most impactful voice. All right, two final notes. Number one, room background. My room background here is okay. I see a lot of people in a true office. They have books behind them, and I'm very, very jealous. But for the purposes of my makeshift office, this is fine. I've got clean background, one picture on the wall that's not distracting. I might put up another, but make sure not to do things like leaving your door open. I can show you the unmade bed sitting over here. Just make sure that you're hiding all that when you do your presentations. Professional attire, as you can see, I'm wearing a suit. And the nice thing about teaching online is that I have completely tricked you. And I am not wearing a suit at all. In fact, I'm wearing red gym shorts underneath. So online, don't mess up. don't step away from the camera. Don't step away from the camera. But it's a costume online. I have bare feet. I don't have my wingtips on. So the professional attire is much easier online. But make sure you look good. Just put that top on so that things look good. Pitfalls. Number one, the most common pitfall I see from student presentations is reading off the screen. Students haven't prepared, and so they read off the screen. And I can tell that because they're leaning in like this, and they have a monotone voice because they don't know quite what they're saying, so they can't give it the proper emphasis. Number two, if you're doing teamwork, work with your team. Pretend you're in a sales group selling something. I can't repeat this enough. So work with your team and avoid the dreaded next slide, please. I think everybody hears that and thinks that it's okay. It sounds like crap. Don't do it. What it says to me is that your team hasn't prepared. And again, I don't care if you're a student team or a team coming in to sell me on a new software or a new idea. Know your slide prompts. Know when to click forward to the next slide and make it appear more professional. So thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see other types of presentation training. Okay, thank you.